Armor 4.2. Would also increase the armor levels. The Vulcan and Kaya volcanoes erupt. Today, the city of Rabaul was hit by 2 massive volcanic eruptions. Despite our best efforts, hundreds of citizens weren't able to flee in time and were buried beneath the ashes. Sacred Heart missionaries observed the explosive eruptions and were quick to set up evacuation camps at their mission headquarters in Herbertshire. Several thousand injured and homeless people are now waiting for the colonial administration to send aid after this catastrophe. Infrastructure receives 10.1 levels of damage, and we lose some political power. Oh, that's not a lot. That will just repair on its own. And it's in the islands, yeah, there is that too. Carry on. The United States declared war on the Pacific States of America. Alright, American Civil War. To those not in the know, it may have seemed like the crisis in the United States came out of nowhere, but experts agree that this is a civil war years in the making. Since the collapse of the New York Stock Exchange in 1925, the economy of the United States has been sluggish and mired in deep recession. With the civs I get from the League, am I going to build any at home? Don't know. Kind of depends on how many they leave me. I thought I was buying in steel. I could have sworn I was. Never mind. Social unrest in Burma. The Kingdom of Burma, which gained its independence with the help of the German Empire, is facing a deep political crisis. Students and workers have risen up against the monarchy in critical demonstrations and protests. Police units have so far been completely unsuccessful in containing the radical protesters. Should we try to support the Burmese monarchy in this crisis? Send the fleet to show our support. And there's the field hospital. So, did we start making support equipment? No. Alright, that's one of the areas where we are lacking a little bit. June 37, we get rid of that penalty, which is going to be great. Colonial instability is going to be going very, very soon. Yeah, I think you get rid of the colonial instability this way a lot quicker. 4 focuses rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 focuses. The Japanese ambassador becomes the High Commissioner in Shanghai. Following the outbreak of the Second American Civil War, the legation cities, heavily reliant on American protection and influence, fell into a power vacuum. The Legation Council had to vote on a new High Commissioner to lead the mandate into the future, and it seems they've chosen the Japanese. The legation cities are now sundered, probably forever, from the idea of a pro-Western open door to China. It is unknown if the cities will even remain nominally neutral in the years to come. Asians for Asia, or... Interesting. They've not gone to Japan, they're just Japan leaning right now. The legation cities are still the legation cities. Having just achieved independence from the United States, the Philippines face today perhaps one of the most serious challenges any new country could face. Inspired by the combined syndicates of America and the Baratia Commune, disgruntled army officers marched on Manila to support the rebelling peasants and the workers. Am I stuck with 3 research slots? Nope, I can go to 4. Meanwhile, how are the submarines doing? They're actually training pretty well. Oh yeah, National Populist. I think they went this side. Yes. Which will most likely cause us some problems. The Peru-Bolivian Confederation restored. It appears that an idea has been reborn in South America. The original confederation between Peru and Bolivia, viewed by its many regional enemies as a potential threat, was torn asunder by a victorious Chile after the Battle of Yungay in 1839. Still, this new confederation could, unlike its predecessor, prove able to sustain itself in these unstable times in South America and the wider world. Japan announces her ambitions. Though the situation in Japan has been critical ever since the peace with honour, with numerous economic crises, unrest and an ineffective response to the German interventions in China leading to the collapse of the autocratic Tanaka regime, the Empire of the Rising Sun managed to bounce back, albeit only as a regional power with its influence limited to East Asia. Yeah, they probably will join the Co-Prosperity, which means I should probably go for this sooner rather than later. Although Germany is still a member of the Legation City, so I can't really do that. Xinjiang clique took 1 state, Turkestan was annexed, so the Chinese are winning this time. Ah, 150. Should probably go for one of the industrial concerns. The Deutsche Samoa Gesellschaft or the Shantung Bergbaugesellschaft. Interprets Universität is electronics, and then that's synthetics. Probably not going to bother with synthetics, so it's going to be one of these 3. These 2 are identical. Or... oh no, we can't get early mobilization. Need to have a little bit more war support, which actually... we're not going to be that far off of getting. Concentrated or dispersed industry, what's everybody's usual preference usually? I usually go for concentrated, but it really is personal preference. Just because I don't tend to change my production that frequently. But if you have lots of upgrades, or if you constantly like iterating new variants, then dispersed is better.
Raiding party!
Whoa! Shenrir, thank you very much for the raid. Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? One of us. One of us. We are currently in the process of trying to decide what we want to build. Infantry equipment, mechanized, motorized. That makes... oh no, we're going to go in amphibious. Right, not doing that just yet. I think... I don't know what I think. Ship designer? Get better destroyers? No, it's got to be one of the industrial concerns. Like, early on it has to be for the industrial research speed bonus. So it's really between the Deutsche Samoa Gesellschaft or the Shantung Bergbau Gesellschaft. And this is literally building mountains. So let's build more mountains, because that's clearly what we need. Construction 2. Speaking of building. Cool machine tools. Yeah, that's it. And we should probably do tanks at some point. Yes, you're not wrong. 2 raids in one day. Yeah, today's a good day. Apparently people like that I'm playing Kaiserreich. So what were you just playing, Shen? Factories of Singapore. The Second Internationale, the first Syndicalist Internationale held in Paris, dealt with the spreading of the ideology overseas, supporting Syndicalist movements and strengthening the ties between existing Syndicalist nations. Anyway, for those of you just joining us here today, we are currently playing as German East Asia. Playing the Elysian mod in EU4. Oh, cool. I started playing that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Still relatively early on in it, though. It is pretty good. Although I really do want to start playing as Vinland in that one of these days. Anyway, yes, we are playing as German East Asia because we just finished a game as the League of 8 Provinces. So we're basically seeing everything from the other perspective. So, huzzah! As the League of 8 Provinces, you are very much beholden to German East Asia and Germany through the mechanics behind the Allgemeine Ostasiengesellschaft, which is their market liberals. Now that I'm playing as German East Asia, it is massively in my interests to make sure that the League of 8 Provinces stays alive. So we've already been involved in one of their civil wars, where they fought against Shandong, Ying, what are they called? Anjing and Kuomintang, which we won. And because of that, they're going to be taking more and more of their focuses. For example, German research aid, which increases their market liberals. The more market liberals they have, the more events trigger. The more events trigger, the more civilian factories and military factories I get, because we're basically buying all of their industries. So it's kind of a really interesting symbiotic relationship between these two countries. Also, German East Asia is basically a navy with a state. We have an enormous fleet, as you can see, currently deployed in various functions. And we're going to be using those when we're actually at war. Also, we happen to have a young gentleman here called Erwin Rommel? Rommel? Yeah, we got Rommel, which is quite nice too. And yeah, Shenrir, congratulations on the gifted sub, courtesy of Mastani. Thank you very much for that, Mastani. Very much appreciate it. Welcome back to the Maudlings. Alright, got a new delay. Let's go for elastic defense. Also, and this is what makes German East Asia kind of interesting, is they have this ability. The Aufsichtsrat der Ostasialische Generalverwaltung, which basically means, 1, they can send loads of volunteers, and I can actually send 11 volunteer divisions right now, which for a country my size is absurd. And 2, the more Chinese cities that are open for business, the more consumer goods factories reduction I get. So not only do I get consumer goods factories from them for free, I also get a reduction in the amount of consumer goods factories I require for consumer goods. So our industry has the potential to be enormous without actually really investing much. Astral Storm, thank you very much for the bits. Very much appreciate that. I heard that Rommel is a wussy. Well, Rommel basically won this war single-handedly, so I wouldn't really call him that. Fangel Tim, Deep Strix Sable Code, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Good to see so many of you here today. Alright, next focus. Let's go and do we want to do this right now? This would allow me to get another industry thingy sooner. We could also dispatch workers to the Borneo mines and get that other factory going. In fact, if we complete reinforcing the colonial bureaucracy, get the new admiralty, then we get all of our other industrial upgrades. Oh, and the research slot. Or, oh wait, was that steel? That was steel. 28 steel and an Or we can go for the army and get our German force, which gives us that plus 20% attack and plus 25% max planning. And plus 10 more special forces. Removes the colonial question. What's that? Ah, yes. Wait. Oh no, it doesn't remove it, it replaces it. Prussian thought instead of the colonial question. Which actually means that we'll have less manpower, but only 5% less factor. Not percentage. We still keep that. Can I check Russia? Russia not looking too hot. Transamura is kicking ass and taking names. Finland is doing what Finland does. And Soviets seem to be pushing. Where's the border right now? Nizhny Novgorod. Got a deal with Guangzhou for that bonus. Well, I'm kind of waiting for Nanjing to go after these two, then I'll join their war again. And basically do it for them. But I'm relatively happy with how things are going. So I think I'm going to do dispatch the workers, invest in the concessions, and then go down towards the new Admiralty. Although I would quite like my awesome army. No, let's get the army done first. We're just going to get the German force. I don't think I'm going to bother with the others just yet. The Ostasian force is currently a divided mix between Ostasian Marines, local garrison units and fresh recruits from Berlin. We must take stock and decide whether to focus on recruiting more locals or further strengthen our forces from the fatherland. Why do I have Rommel? Because in this, they won the First World War, which meant that Germany was a lot more interested in maintaining a status quo, and they basically believed their traditional military doctrines were fine. And Rommel, being this big experimental hooligan who didn't really feel much for authority, was sidelined. They were like, yeah, you could be useful, but let's try you out in the colonies before you let you home and mess up our own successful doctrines. So because he's so experimentalist, they were like, go to the colonies and do your stuff over there, where you can't damage anything. Aha! American Civil War. Spanish Civil War. Which I did very much want to get involved in. And I still do. Subs. I need to stop you. Training. Austria declared war on Hungary. No, that's not a war I want to get involved in. Yeah, I think I want to go and help the Kingdom of Spain. Ever since the defeat of Napoleon, Spain has been plagued by violence, dissent and turmoil. No amount of pleading, deal-making and appeasement has managed to do more than paper over the cracks as tensions bubbled. Finally, they boiled over. The Spanish kingdom has been ripped apart by a three-sided civil war between the numerous factions. It was inevitable.
Angetreten.
Earlier we get involved, the better. I'd love you guys to be fully trained, but I don't think I can really afford to do it. So we are going to send Erwin Rommel and his 11 divisions to Spain. And that's probably an army about the size of what Spain's actually got. Okay, not quite, but still. Gymnos, Captain Skippy, and Harkos, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. What stats does Rommel have? He has less than he does in vanilla. Oops, that's not Rommel. Oh, I can't actually check. I just sent him off. The other thing I can do, actually, is unassign you. And Rommel? I can't unassign you. Hopefully you're still in charge of that army when they arrive. 11 volunteers is ridiculous. Yeah, very slightly overpowered. Seeing as he can intervene everywhere. They should probably remove that when Nanjing wins their war. Or have it just for the duration of the Nanjing War. Nicaragua declared war on Honduras. But one of the weird things about Rommel is he doesn't have any traits related to tanks. He has Trickster, but that's it. Turkestan Khanate declared on Alash Order. Dutch elections. Creation of the formidable Left Links electoral pact meant the death knell of the Conservative government. However, it quickly collapsed, leading to minority rule. The Social Democratic SDAP party has joined a coalition with more moderate VDB, promising a progressive administration that aims to solve the nation's many crises. I assume it's there so you can help out in World War II. I'm a puppet. Like, I'm in the war even if I don't want to. Was he not the Panzer General of the war? He was in vanilla. This isn't vanilla. Again, the German High Command had no reason to innovate because they just won the First World War. They are in a period of stagnation. The fall of Vienna. The Habsburg capital is lost. A few days ago, the Hungarian army pinned the remaining Austrian soldiers on the banks of the Danube, and rumour has it the Austrian royal family has fled while they could. Now the city is completely controlled by Hungary, and its many artists and musicians living in apprehension of what could become of the cultural bastion of Europe. Also, I've just realised that I did not flag air volunteers, and I should have. Although here we will actually be up against air power. I can send 60 aircraft, which I think is what I have, isn't it? 20, 40, 60. It is. Yeah, Austria loses Vienna because it's right on the border. Because it is, I think, the rest of the Austrian Empire versus Hungary, although they seem to be doing quite well at the moment. Okay, we're here.
Angetreten.
And Rommel is going to take 10 days to assign. So I should have unassigned him before we sent them. No matter. I think I want to take out... I'm going to cut CNTFAI in half. Move you. There we are. Yeah, we got the problem where we can't assign battle plans. We'll need to remember to check Madrid every now and then for when my aircraft arrive.
Angetreten.
Let's move it quickly. Okay, 2 of them are here. We can actually reach the whole of Iberia. It's quite nice. Come on, where are the bombers? Just passing over Crete. They're almost here. Guangdong Clique took 5 states. Guangxi have been annexed. What I would like to do is this. Okay, so Rommel will be usable as of tomorrow. And actually, I'm going to set you two in a separate unit. That's a job. Can't give you that order.
Ausrücken! Befehle! Ausrücken! Alright.
Is that a city? No, it's a forest. Tanks suck in forests too. No matter. How do you set up Navy volunteers? You can't. They don't exist. Air volunteers, you need to send volunteers, then make sure that this is checked for send volunteers, send that offer, and then when it's sent, click on one of their air bases, And you'll see this number here. That tells you how many aircraft you can send, maximum. Create a wing, or a number of wings, up to that maximum, and then just send them. Right-click on one of their air bases, and then use them as normal. No longer get the austerity budget. That's good. And that means we are completely free of Black Monday. Huzzah! And now we do have enough war support if we wanted to.
Alright. Auf geht's! Bereit zum Ausrücken. Ziel anvisiert. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit!
Just trying to pin down either side. We'll take Valencia, which will basically kill off this pocket, and then I'm going to start focusing on Carlists. I just wanted to reduce the front line that Kingdom of Spain needed to deal with, and getting this cut off would do that magnificently. Rip oil. Oh, we're low on oil. It's fine. Should be able to make Rommel's volunteers into a hireable mercenary army.
Abstand halten!
I mean, if you were doing like multiplayer, you definitely could. Get paid in lend-leases. Oh no, you can't get lend-leases if you're not at war. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would get paid for it. That would be a pretty cool idea. Let's go and get concentrated industry. Then we do need to get our tank upgrades. If I can start building them. Get paid in civilian factories, but how would you do that? Via trade. Yeah, I guess. Or licenses.
Ausrücken! Ziel anvisiert. Achtung!
No, I do not want you reinforcing Valencia. It's not happening.
Greif weiter an!
Organizer, infantry leader, commando, mountaineer, hillfighter, ranger, urban assault specialist. Yeah, this attack on Valencia is taking a long time. Let's buy up some of the rubber supplies. There we go. Boom. Peace deal between Ecuador and Peruvian Confederation. Okay, German force. It's time. The natives aren't fit to defend and die for the Kaiser. We must continue relying on German troops, even if it reduces our total force size.
Vorwärts, Männer!
Oh, I don't even need to worry about attacking that anymore. So now, I'm going to say, let's take out this. Ah, I can draw a line. Excellent. That means I can get some planning preparation. I would like to do that. Absolutely. Oh man, we've actually trapped a lot of CNT FAI troops in that pocket. This is going to be really bad for them. Though they do still have 2 ports. They could withdraw if they tried. Also means they're still going to be receiving supplies. Unless, of course, the kingdom has a bigger fleet, which they might. Now, I was going to wait for this in case I got the designer.